that was hard. I was really struggling on that point. And some days I thought that I was hoping that the boat would break up, that I could just jump into some cargo ship, and get out of there. I just wanted to get out of there.
On the Wind is presented this season by two old friends of the podcast. First up is Rutgerson Marine, a Swedish sailing hardware company, and OPO, Offshore Passage Opportunities, run by our good friend Hank Schmidt. OPO is a fantastic resource if you want to build offshore experience. You join Hank's mailing list and get access to delivery opportunities all over the world, often sailing for free as crew. We'd obviously love to have you sailing with us at 59 North, but if you don't have the time or budget for that, OPO is a great alternative. And if you're a boat owner looking for crew, you can sign up for free. Check it out at sailopo.com. Rutgerson Marine makes some of the best sailing hardware out there, and we have been using them for a long time. Esbjörn is full of Rutgerson stuff, and it's just such great quality. We recently replaced the mainsail on Esbjörn, and the batten receptacles from the old mainsail, after 80,000 nautical miles, looked so great that I took them all off and kept them as spares. We also have blocks and pads and low friction rings and all sorts of great stuff from them. You can find them at rutgersonmarine.se. That's MARIN, no E at the end. Again, that's sailopo.com and rutgersonmarine.se. Thanks to both for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. Ahoy, shipmates! Welcome back to the show. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to Ari Huusela, who's joining me remotely from his campervan parked on a remote island in the Norwegian Arctic. We had a bit of an audio recording setback when Ari's phone had to be placed all the way up by the window for his cellular internet to work. So the sound you're hearing is from his laptop, but it's quite good for a Zoom recording, I would say. Two things before we press play. First, if you want to work with us, our newly acquired schooner business in Annapolis, Woodwind, is hiring. Go to schoonerwoodwind.com/employment and see all of the openings there. You can skipper with us. We also have openings for deckhand and various onshore roles. So that's schoonerwoodwind.com/employment. Again, go there and see what we have. Send us your application and kickstart your sailing career. Secondly, we have an exciting sailing opportunity for you. There's an opening on Falken's passage from Hawaii to British Columbia, July 7th to 28th this year. It's a woman's spot, and you can find all the info, as well as all of our other openings on 59-north.com/bunks. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here, and please enjoy the episode. Welcome to On the Wind, the podcast about sailing. I'm your host, August Sandberg. Ari Huusela is an aircraft mechanic and commercial airline pilot from Helsinki, Finland. He did not start sailing until the age of 24, but went on to become the first person from the Nordic countries to have finished the brutal Vendee Globe round the world race. During the race, he became known as the super happy sailor thanks to his positive energy and optimism, and he's still as happy as ever. Good to see you. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, I'm super happy to be able to join you, and that we finally got this arranged.
Very, very good. That's great. We're on a video call here now for this, and but I believe we are in the same country, at least. Where are you right now?
I'm very close to Sherboy, a small, very beautiful village, 70 degrees north.
Oh, very cool.
Up into the sea for like a short swim. And I found a sauna which was floating one, and then I was really happy get myself washed, and also had a chance to pop in the sea. That's +6, quite okay.
Wow, that sounds great. That's quite chilly at this time of year. Are you on the island of Chave or?
I just crossed the bridge on the land side because there is a nice spot for camping. I'm in my campervan.
All
I
right.
have spent 10 days now here in Norway with my campervan.
Ah, fantastic. That is a wonderful place to be at a wonderful time of the year. I've spent a lot of time up there doing like these whale safari sailing trips and ski and sail trips as well and stuff like that. So I know the area very well. It's beautiful.
It is. It's paradise for me.
Nice.
After all that sailing, this feels really good to be on land side and still have the same elements, sea and powerful nature around.
Absolutely, yeah. It's gorgeous up there. Did you catch any of the Northern Lights activities that's been on lately?
Last night I got really nice pictures, and the night before, of course, and almost every night.
Fantastic.
So it's great. It's great here, and I did a whale safari last December when I was here in the same village. But now I met some people at the harbor, and there might be a possibility to go tomorrow morning at 9:30 again, and they offered a chance to swim with the whales, snorkeling with the whales.
Oh,
so
yeah.
crazy.
Exciting. So you're on vacation up there?
Yeah, I have like 3 months off from the work nowadays. I'm almost at the point where I have to retire from flying. We are allowed to fly until 65, and now I'm 63. I could have retired 8 years ago, but the flying is so much fun that I can't quit. But now this is quite good arrangement to get 3 off months, and this month has been very good. First I started from sailing from Gibraltar to Lanzarote with the Sunfast 3300 double-handed. We sailed, delivered the boat to Lanzarote for the start of RORC Rorke Transat, which is 11th of January, and I'm participating that race on that same boat, and that was actually our qualification sailing from Gibraltar to Lanzarote.
Oh, very cool. So you're still in the competitive sailing world then?
Oh, it's been since 4 years. I haven't been actually there, but now it's my first time to do some kind of comeback. But this is really nice and easy, and I'm super happy that I have a chance to jump in the boat, which is ready to go, and which has a very nice skipper and owner, and I don't have to worry about too much of things.
Right. That's that sounds really cool. So you are of course the first and only Nordic skipper who's ever completed the Vendée Globe race. That was the 2021 edition, right? And,
yes.
So that was amazing to follow. I remember that very well. And did you kind of need a little break from the ocean after that? Is that why you've been seeking the land?
yeah, actually that has been my dream quite a long time, to have my own campervan and drive around with the camper. And I do off-piste skiing and ski randonnée, and this is the best way to do it. You can get awesome places with the car, and you don't have to worry about the accommodation or restaurants or food. You have your own kitchen, and everything is here. It's a very good combination to do these kind of sports. And actually, I got used to live in camper during my three mini transit projects on 1999, 2002, and 3, and then 2007. On all of those projects, I had rented or I got a campervan from my sponsor, which I lived in the harbors where my boat was and prepared for the race. So I spent quite a lot of time in Brittany area in my campervan beside the boat, and since those days I thought that someday I would like to have one of my own and do some own things with the one.
Very, very nice. Is that like your base now, and or how is because you're flying as a commercial pilot then for like a stretch, and then you have longer periods of holiday in between, and then do you spend those on in your camper? Is that how what your life looks like?
My life is nowadays very nice. It's nice and easy and beautiful.
Fantastic.
It has been very, very nice. I've been privileged to have this kind of story to share, and also now the life is good. I was super happy that I was able to finish the Vendee Globe, and after I'd sell the boat forward so that I could pay all the loans, and now I'm free to do anything what I want, and actually I could retire every day if I'd want to. I still want to do some flying, but yeah, I still live in Helsinki. My home is in Helsinki, but I spend quite a lot of time north. I have a cottage in Lapland, Ylläs.
Oh yeah.
And this campervan is parked there during the winter time, and if I have more than 2 days, then I fly to north and take my campervan and drive to Norway. Depending of course the weather, but yeah, this is my life nowadays.
That sounds very nice. I've often said that boats and campervans are kind of the same, just two different machines to accomplish the same thing, and you get to kind of you have the freedom to go anywhere and to control your own movements and stuff. So that sounds like the perfect evolution to me.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same things, but not so much stress than we have with the boats. If the weather is bad, or even if we are in a sheltered and safe harbor, if the weather is bad, it can be stressful. But with the car, you are always like relaxed.
Yeah, that does seem to be a big difference. The campervans doesn't seem to break as often as boats do. You did have quite a few issues during your Vendee Globe trip.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, I had some, but not too serious ones. I didn't have any structural things to repair. That was good because I wasn't so experienced on those things like laminating and that kind of stuff. And then I had some electrical issues which are quite common, but I knew the boat and the system so well that I was able to manage and fix them. So that was good. And yeah, of course on the third night when I had the capsize of the boat heeled over so that the mast top was on the water. I was really afraid that the boat is going to go all the way like turtle, but yeah, it didn't happen. And on that time I lost my sensor which told the mast angle for the wind instruments and autopilot. And since then, and also for the radar, because I had a rotating wing mast. So since then I had to manually tell to the systems that how much the mast is turned how many degrees it is there. And
Right, because the rotating mast affects the reading that you get from your wind direction instrument.
Also from the radar.
Right, I've never thought about that before, but yeah, of course you do. When your whole mast is rotating like that, of course that's going to affect the angles of your instruments. Huh.
And it rotates quite a lot. It can rotate easily 30, 35 degrees.
Oh, so man.
It is a big thing to take in consider.
Yeah, so then every time you had to manually put that data in. That sounds quite stressful.
Yeah, since then 100 and some days, after every maneuver I had to manually set up the system with the mast angle, but that's how the things are in Vendee Globe. I think there is no Vendee Globe without any problems. More or less, and as Mitch Desio said already, like year 2000, when I was following him, he said that you have to deal at least one problem every day, and then you have some problems which you have to deal on the whole way. So the only hope is that you don't accumulate those problems, so that if you have one problem every day and you end up sailing 100 days, and during the finish line you have 100 problems.
Yeah, and then those problems will cause more problems, and the dominoes starts to fall. And but you weren't really one of the more you weren't in this to win. I don't think you were mostly concerned with finishing the race. Is that right?
Yeah, my only goal was to finish the race. Of course, when I had been able to start the race, that was of course the first goal. And that was really hard to get even on the start line. And it has been even harder nowadays. As we saw in 2024 edition, even they raised the number of the boats up to 40, which was almost incredible. And still there was 2 boats left out. And I can't even imagine how big disappointment it has been for those 2 who had gone through all the qualification process. They did lots of races across the Atlantic, and still they were left out. So it is really hard nowadays, and I am sure they did put to that point 2-3 millions to that project to get into that point, and then they were left out.
Wow.
So that's very, very cruel nowadays. Business is, it's, and I was also, of course, amateur sailor, so that was very big difference, huge difference comparing to the other ones who were like paid skippers on the teams, and they had almost unlimited resources to race, but I had very limited shoestring budget, and then I had to save the boat as much as possible, and of course all that was based on the boat, which was funded by myself.
Right.
So, and to get the boat funded, I had to put how flat the guarantee for the loan for the boat. So it was quite crazy. I got all in my home, everything. And on top of that, of course, I had to take lots of short period loans, which were quite expensive to be able to prepare and pay all the things which were accumulating all the time, and that was kind of crazy. And finally, I ended up to start the Vendee Globe without insurance on the boat, which was actually my home.
Wow! So you had to sail very conservatively then, not only to make sure that you finished the race, but also because you had all of your money and loans were depending on you selling the boat after the race, you would have become
I would become homeless if I'd lost the boat.
That's brutal. And you didn't have
That's really
insurance either,
brutal.
so that means if you
Yeah.
if
But
the boat went down, then that's your
yeah, and I was sure that I will safely get back home in any case. The safety equipment and preparations for that kind of emergency things are so good that there hasn't been fatal accident since 1996, and it has improved every 4 years since then. Our edition was ninth Vendee Globe, but anyway, yeah, that was also not the only concern. The one was that I have to be able to sell the boat as soon as possible after the race. And I had to keep the boat in selling condition during Vendee Globe, 29,000 miles, hard pushing and rounding Southern Ocean. And then you still have to keep the boat in so good condition that someone can buy it immediately after you finish the race without too many complaints on the boat. So that was a big challenge.
I bet.
I succeeded on that one, and the insurance wasn't really good anyway. The deductible was 175,000 euros, and the insurance would have cost 70,000 euros. So all below 250,000 would have been anyway on my own pocket. That covered actually only the total loss of the boat.
Right. Yeah, that's
also possible. That's also, of course, possible there also. But I thought that's if that kind of risk realizes, then I have some other problems also. So I didn't have that 70,000 euros to take that insurance. So I had to start without. On that point, maybe the money is not the biggest worry. If you lose your boat on the Southern Ocean.
That's true. Yeah, you got a whole bunch of things to worry about. That's true, man. So how were you successful? Did you manage to keep the boat in pristine conditions all the way around?
Yeah, and that was a big success, because when I finished, after on the week when I finished. After a few days, there was the first people came to watch to check the boat for buying it. So just a little bit cleaning up, and then it was good to show for the buyers.
Not bad. Very, very impressive.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how much of the kind of flying avionics skills that you have did you bring into this? Do you find that there's a big overlap of like the things you use in flying and the things you use to sail like that?
I think the main thing on my background is that when I've been since kid involved with the aviation, and when I was 15, I started an aviation mechanic school, and when I was 17, I started to work as on maintenance section on aviation. So I have been always like very responsible of what I'm doing, because some other people's life can their life is on my hands, and I have to work properly and do the things as well as I can. And of course that makes you mentally think about that kind of things, and safety as a primary and first thing above all. And that has been like mentally big thing to be whole life working on the aviation. Then I just moved this way of thinking and my mental idea of doing Vendee Globe from aviation to the sailing. and it worked perfectly.
Very nice. So you were an aircraft mechanic first, and then you got into actually flying airplanes.
Yeah, that's also a very good background for sailing, especially this kind of sailing, because I knew how to handle a screwdriver.
True, that is arguably more important than knowing how to use a winch and how to tie knots is to use a screwdriver on a sailboat.
Yeah, and I was there working 10 years with the planes, and they are quite complicated, and they have lots of similar kind of technical things than we have on our boats. And then I was quite well prepared on that side.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I guess they're similar vehicles in many ways. Well, you got radars and you got radios and you got batteries and all these things, and that's really cool. Yeah, because I mean, for being a solo sailor, you do need that. You need to be the pilot and the mechanic, right? So that's perfect to have that background.
Yeah, that's true. And on top of that, when your way of thinking is safety minded, and you try to think like a few steps forward and eliminate all the risks before the start, and then when you start, you try to limit the risks to the minimum during the sailing.
Yeah. How did you do that? Like practically, did you? And through your sailing strategy, what did you make any specific adjustments to your course, and did you limit yourself in any ways to stay safe and to keep the boat in sailable condition?
Yeah, of course, I had to sail very conservatively. I didn't push the boat too hard, and I was quite, when we were running Southern Ocean, I was quite north to avoid the worst weathers. But anyway, there were some not so nice days, and then finally we had to turn around Cape Horn, so that's 56 south. So you ended up way down, down there. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part of the race was when I had turned around the Cape Horn, and I was almost like on the homebound way, and lots of people were like trying to encourage me that now you're on the final stage and only the last part of the race to go, and that only thing was like 7,000 miles after 22,000 miles. So, and that had to be made single-handed. So that I calculated that was like 200 Gotland runs on the row without any stop, alone, after you had done 70 Gotland runs. Alone. That gives you some perspective that what kind of thing you are doing, because Gotland runs is very hard and it can be very cruel also, but still it's only 300 miles or something.
Yeah, very true. What was the worst part of the Vendee for you? What was the roughest part?
Of course, there was some very rough conditions when I was approaching Cape Horn, but and the first big storm I had on Indian Ocean after passing Cape of Good Hope, and then it was quite okay until I went down to turn around Cape Horn, and there were a few very bad days, especially one few days before the Cape Horn, because I was on a port deck going south, and the ice limit was there. Now I was closing that ice limit, and it was very windy, like 30 to 45 knots all the time, and the waves were huge, and I was really struggling there. And then I knew that at some point I had to jibe, because we were not allowed to cross. It was a very big penalty if you go across the ice limit zone. And then I remember that I waited like 12 hours, the perfect time for that jibe. That was the jibe of my life. to make it properly and to not to break anything, to break the boat just a few days before Cape Horn, and before the kind of survival. If you can get around the Cape Horn and back to Atlantic, then you're saved. Then you're almost done. Then you have done the whole around the world tour already. It's just then you have to climb up to the finish line. But yeah, that was really scary point. And finally, the wind didn't ease off. I checked the forecast several times, and they all said that the wind should ease off, and there should be a better point to do that jibe in few hours. And I waited and 12 hours, and since I was so close that iceberg line, that I had finally had to do the jibe on those conditions, and that was really scary point. But yeah, it worked out, and then after then the weather calmed down, and I had perfect conditions to pass the Cape Horn. I was so lucky with that, because I thought even in '96, when I was first time on the Vendee Globe pontoons, like 25 years before, I thought that what kind of feel, I was thinking that what kind of feeling it will be when you turn around the Cape Horn after all that racing, and if you're even able to see that if there is more than 20 knots of wind, you have to go like 20-30 miles south of it, because the waves are so bad. It's so low waters there, and it can be dark, and there can be squalls and lots of rain, and you might go there and you don't even see the Cape Horn. So that would have been a big disappointment after 25 years of waiting that point to be there and turn around that. And it looked that bad. It looked that I might not be able to see that, but finally the wind calmed down, and I could go past it by 2-3 miles, and I was able to see the lighthouse, and it was just before the sunset, so it was a very nice moment. And then the beacon, the lighthouse started to blink there, and then I took my VHF and called the lighthouse keeper, and we changed a few words, and I thought that someday I have to go there by land, by flying, and go to see that place from the land side. That was big point. But then the real struggle started, and we had almost all the way like 7,000 miles upwind and very harsh conditions. So lots of wind and lots of really nasty waves, and slamming in the boat like 1 month after that.
Oh man,
that was hard. I was really struggling on that point. And some days I thought that I was hoping that the boat would break up, that I could just jump into some cargo ship, and get out of there. I just wanted to get out of there. But luckily the boat survived, and I got it all the way to the finish line.
That's fantastic.
But it was really hard for the mind, because of course lots of boats were already finished the race, and I started to think about that what kind of things there are waiting on the land, and how it would be, and how nice the Sable d'Olonne, the village itself, is, and how nice it would be to walk on those streets on that village and get into a restaurant for some good food. And I was still quite far away from that point.
Yeah. How long did it take from the first people who got across the finish line until you did?
The first one made it on 84 days, and I had 116, so 32 days.
All right, like a month. Yeah, I can see that, being a little jealous of them hanging out in restaurants and stuff. You know, we all remember you as I remember your video updates and stuff from the boats during the Vendee, and you went by the super happy sailor back then. You know, you were always just have this amazing attitude, and there's always smiling and cheerful. On there, was that reflective of how you were inside, or was that something that you had to struggle with sometimes?
Most of the time, I think I was. Most of the time, I really was super happy, and that was a kind of idea what was given to me from my wife, because when I was really like scared before the few days before the start. I was so scared. I finally realized that what is waiting for me, and what the hell I'm going to do. And now I have to go, and I was so scared. I remember that I called several times to Alex Thompson, and I desperately tried to seek some kind of help for my mind to calm down myself, to get on top of that I'm really now leaving for the Vendee Globe. But on the starting day, it all calmed down, and Nina told me that whatever happens, because you might have to abandon the race on any time on the first night. It can happen anytime. So as long as you are there, you are in the race, you are privileged, and you must enjoy that, and actually every second what you are able to be in the race, you have to try to enjoy that, because it has been so hard to get there, and now the reward was there, that I was able to cross the start line, and that was a big thing to realize that that's how it is. If you are able to cross the start line, and then afterwards the race can stop in any minute, in any second. You can hit the whale, you can hit the container, you can hit anything. Anything can happen. And there has been races where those skippers had to be abandoned on the first night, on the first hours of the race.
Yeah.
So then I just had to be as happy as I could be, as long as I was in the race, and finally it went all the way. So that made me super happy.
Yeah,
Still I'm
very
super
nice.
happy on that.
Still super happy. Love it. That's great.
Yeah.
I guess Alex Thompson, he would know better than anyone, right? He has had a lot of misfortunes in his Vendee career. He was not sailing in the 2020, was he? Or was that the last one he did?
20 was, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel for him, because he was so helpful. He was the person to kick me and push me into the IMOCA and finally into the Vendee Globe, because he visited Helsinki Boat Show in 2016. I think that was 2017, yeah. And he had big miss luck when he capsized with his brand new Hugo Boss during the Transsaquabre. I think that was 2015. Yeah, that was 2015. Because he was aiming for 2016 Vendee Globe with that boat. And yeah, and then he came to the Helsinki boat show February 2016 because he didn't have the boat to sail. So he had lots of time. And I met him first time on there. And I had one project of my own going on that time. I had a plan to participate New York Vendee race. I had rented a boat, Imoca boat, to do that, and that project wasn't published yet. But I told it to Alex, and he promised to help me as much as he can. He had a very big resources to do lots of things, and then that project finally ended up very badly because the boat which I was rented was lost at sea on the way to New York on the British Transit, which started from UK to New York, and the owner got injured during the race, and he was evacuated to the cargo ship, and the boat was left drifting at the sea. And I was there in New York without a boat with my sponsors, and which were like the two biggest companies in Finland, Finnair, my employer, and Neste Oil, which is a very big oil refinery, big company in Finland. And sells a lot of fuel to Finnair. So I was there without a boat, and that was really, really bad thing for my sailing career.
Oh no!
But Alex was there with his boat, and he offered his boat for visiting on my sponsors, and I was able to go sailing with his boat around the Statue of Liberty, and then he said that don't worry, he will come to Finland in 2017 after the Vendee Globe. They will have a Nordic tour with Hugo Boss, and he will come to Helsinki. And then he came to Helsinki in 2017 summer with his boat, which had only one foil because the other one broke, and he didn't have the new one yet. And he offered me 2 sponsor sailings with 10 sponsor candidates of each of those sailings for me on my side, and I was able to kind of explain and show to my sponsor candidates which kind of business Imoca sailing is, and Alex gave them a speech, explained them before the sailing in our sailing clubhouse that what kind of possibilities there are, and how well you benefit on this kind of sport, and the sponsor wise, and the media value is huge. And then we went sailing, and that was 2017 during June, and 2017 after 2 months I had my own boat.
That's fantastic! Wow.
Yeah.
Good on you, Alex Thompson. That's very, very kind of him. Wow.
Very, very generous. And then I was struggling with the sponsors, and I bought the boat. As I told, I funded it by myself, but that was just the start. I still needed loads of money, like 5 times the sum of the boat which I had bought. And I was struggling with the sponsors, and then he participated again. He came again to Finland in 2018 with he came to Finland with his get to do the boat show, and actually it was quite a fun thing because I was asking that if he could come to the boat show and to give some speeches and to explain again my new sponsor candidates that what kind of thing this is, and then he checked. Actually, his secretary checked that he on those days he might have possibility for 1 or 2 days trip to Helsinki that he could come in, and then we arranged all the flight tickets and accommodation and stuff like that, and finally I got a chance to be a pilot of the flight for picking him up from London Heathrow. and we fly twice a day to London Heathrow with our flagship, the big Airbus 350 wide body new plane, which is very impressive. For a passenger, and of course in the cockpit too, because it's so nice and new and amazing plane to fly. So I jumped into my Airbus 350 and flew to London Heathrow. Alex didn't know. It was quite fun because he didn't know that I was going to be the captain of the flight. He could keep that like a secret, and then we upgraded him to business class, of course, and then there was one flight attendant who is also a keen sailor and knew Alex Thompson and had followed Alex Thompson. So he went to say Alex Thompson that actually we have a captain of the flight who is also very interested in sailing and he'd like to meet you. And then I popped out there behind flight attendant's back, and yeah, you should have seen the face of Alex. It was good fun. I think he remembered that all his life. And then when the rules are very strict on UK airspace for the cockpit visiting, but after they get out of UK airspace into the Scandinavian side, then Alex was there sitting in the cockpit on the jump seat between us two pilots for the whole rest of the flight until the landing. And so he saw the landing also in the prime place. So it was good fun.
Fantastic! You got to pick him up in your Airbus. That is a fantastic story.
It was so nice because when he was so kind and generous that he was able to spend his valuable time, a few days, to this kind of thing. So he was just so gentleman. So I thought that the only thing I can give even a little bit reward that I have to go there and pick him up by personally by myself.
Give him a ride. That's amazing. Very cool. I wonder if these characters and kind of these idols are just so important in keeping the sailing sport alive and kind of passing that on. I'm curious what effect your career has had in Finland. Do you think was it a big thing in Finland with you being like the first Nordic skipper to do this, and was there a lot of coverage in Finnish media, and will there be like another generation of Finnish Imaka skippers now following in your footsteps, you think?
I hope that, of course, I hope that there will be some, but and we get lots of media coverage in our main big medias and TV channels and newspapers, and I get to know quite well by the Finnish people, but still it's good. It's nowadays so expensive. It's so hard to get in, and you have to have a proper team. You have to have a quite new boat to be able to get into the race, to be able to be on the to keep the pace of the other boats, because the rules are now much tighter to get the qualification.
How does that work? Is it the because they limit the amount of entrants, and then is it how do they eliminate people? Is it first come first served, like the first ones to pass the qualifications, the runner list, or do you apply to join and then they pick the best ones, or how does it work?
Actually, now it's the best ones, because the new rule is that on the qualification races, which they are like now they had the Transat, that's with a new name, but anyway, same race, which just ended a few days ago. And the first boat was Jeremy Bio's Saral, and he made it in 12 days or something. And then the finish line for the boats for the rule for the qualification closes 50% of the winner's time added to his time. So after 18 days, you don't have the finish line anymore. And for example, the Hungarian guy who bought my boat, he was on the same race, and I know that he pushed the boat hard, and he sailed as well as he could sail. And he still ended up to 20 days. So he was out. And that's the new rule. And that means that you have to have a new boat, you have to have a fast boat, you have to have a good team to prepare the boat so that you can sail fast enough to get there. And that means actually that you have to have a foiling boat.
Yeah, and that gets really expensive.
Yeah, if you pay like 500,000 of the old 20 years old normal Daggerboard boat, and then you need a foiling boat, you need to put like at least 4 or 5 times more to get even a boat. And then if you have a foiling boat, you have to spend like same coefficient, like 5 times the money to keep that in running condition per year.
Yeah.
And that makes it really, really like difficult nowadays. And even I was able to raise some funding, but not too much. We were calculating that we need a budget like 2.5 million to be able to finish the race. And then the French guy said that no way, you need 4 million.
Oh, wow.
And then that was 2017, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. And then we finally ended up and finished the race with around 1.7, including the boat. And that was kind of very promising and encouraging for lots of people. And there were lots of people who were interested at how it was done, how
right, yeah,
able to do it. But nowadays, I think the 4 million is not going to be enough.
Yeah.
We need 5 million or something, and we got altogether sponsor money or something like during the 4 years. I think we got 600,000 or 700,000 from the sponsors.
Right. That's such a shame that it's going to be like that, because
and then if you want to do it nowadays, you have to go to ask 10 times or more of money from sponsors to be able to do that. And I think that in Finland, on our markets, I was struggling to get that money, and I'm not sure if there is anyone able to raise that 10 times higher.
Yeah,
to get the money.
That is a big ask, man. That's I'm sorry to hear that. It's too bad. I always loved those boats and those skippers who were the underdogs or like the dark horses who were able to, like, those stories are just so much better. And also I find that their character and their people are a lot more exciting to follow than these the top teams where you have, a team of mechanics and people working on the boat, and then the skipper is just resting and sleeping in his hotel and getting ready for the trip. It's, those stories of the skipper himself being down in the bilges, getting dirty and desperately getting ready, and those are the stories that really that I remember, and I think a lot of other people as well. But then I see that they want the Vendée Globe to be, a race. So I do see it from their perspective as well. But it's unfortunate that those opportunities is going to disappear.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried, and I spoke a lot with the Hungarian skipper who bought my boat. I was sailing with him on Defi Azimuth race, which was 20 double-handed race, like 48 hours on Lorient at the mid-September. 2 months ago, I was sailing with him, and he's also, because he had to abandon the 24 race to Cape Town, and now I'm happy that he finally decided to continue and try again in 2028. But and he successfully finished around the British Island race during the summer, and now he finished the coffee race, and out of the time. But anyway, I'm sure he will get a place. And now when the world economics are struggling, and they still have 40 places for the Vendee start line, so I think that it might be possible to get there now, because they don't get all those places filled.
Right.
2028. Even those big teams in France, several of them, for example, PRB, which has been there since the first race, 89, every race, they went off. They are not anymore in. And there are some other big teams also who stopped in IMOCA class, and I think it might be partly of this idea which they are like losing, that it's not for adventurers anymore. It's just for professional race, and then the race loses its character a lot.
I would say I'd agree to that. So
and I think that happened for Volvo Ocean Race.
Yeah.
And that is now the case, which is looking bad for Vendee Globe and IMOCA also. And the problem is that the boats are so expensive and so fast, and the big teams have unlimited budgets. On maybe it was one year ago when one of those famous boat designers wrote an article that how the IMOCA boats have improved during the years, and then he compared new boats, 2023 boats, 22 design boats, to those who were made like 20 years before. Like my boat was those age boats, and on some wind angles and some conditions, the new boats were 70% faster.
Yeah.
And totally all round was 50% faster. So now if you want to get qualified with the old boat, you have to sail it 100%. If the boats who are on top sail 100%, then they are 50% faster. And now you have the 50% time limit to be in the finish line after the first finisher. So you have to really push old boats to the limit to get even to the qualification line.
Yeah,
And
man, that's rough.
That makes it crazy.
True. Yeah. What do you think about these retro races that Don McIntyre has put together with the Golden Globe race and the Ocean Globe race? Do you think that is a good way to keep the character of the ocean racing scene alive?
I think it's a bit like maybe how to say it like politely, but my personal opinion is for the Golden Globe race that it shouldn't be held at all. As you see the statistics on 68 when it was held first time, 9 boats started, 1 finished. Then they made this 50 years like memory race in 2018, where was also the Finnish guy in Tapio Lehtinen, who was a good friend of mine. And I admire hugely his way of sailing and his sailing career. But anyway, on that race there were 18 on the start line, 5 boats finished. And then again 2022 there were 15 boats and 3 boats finished. And there are lots of those boats lying somewhere on the bottom of Southern Ocean or some other oceans. And it has been quite a good thing. I don't say that it has been good luck, but there must have been good luck also, because we haven't lost any of those boat skippers yet.
Yeah, but you're right, it was close a few times, right? Especially the first one.
Yeah. So now if you go there with that kind of boat, which has never been even designed to do that kind of thing, those boats are good for Atlantic crossings under certain conditions. They have been designed for that kind of thing. But sailing non-stop around the world with that kind of basic design, which is like several tons overloaded with all the supplies, food and water on board, they haven't been designed to carry that kind of loads originally. And then no communication systems, no weather forecast systems. They are so slow that every weather pattern will like go over them, and they can't do anything of that for that. So it just waits the time that there will be fatal things happening. And I think that's why that race hasn't been even allowed to any sailing federation. It's held just by the Don
McIntyre.
Yeah, with his own rules.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly a risky thing to get involved with, both for skippers and sponsors as well. With some of these shipwrecks that's been happening, is very very scary.
If you make that kind of race, of course there will be people who want to participate. But
always.
I'm not sure if it always, yeah. And it's kind of right to think that the people have to have a right to explore and to make adventures, and it's their own decision. But still, in Vendee Globe we have boats which has been developed since '89, and to check the statistics nowadays, it's on the safety wise, it's totally different thing to do it with the Imoco.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have the weather forecast, right? So you can actually prepare for what's coming, and you have the speed to maneuver around systems. And
yes, and you have boats which is not sinking, unsinkable boat comparing to those old boats which goes quite easily to the bottom.
Yeah, like Tapios did,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
he got the
yeah, and some other boats also. There has been those also. So it is like a totally different thing, and they shouldn't be never even compared, I think. But
right.
that's my opinion, and it's a bit like I'm a bit scared to say it aloud. I'm sure that there will be some people who are angry for me of what I'm saying, but to be honest, that's my opinion, and other people can think what they want, but that's my opinion of that
Thank you
crude race
for
with crude race with the stopovers is different thing.
yeah.
They have the boats are maybe much more better, like prepared and designed for that kind of thing, and then the route goes so that they can stop and they can make some repairs, and they are in a much more better position.
Yeah, and the
can be
boats are
of course,
a lot bigger too, right? So they
yeah,
can handle things a lot more. Yeah.
yeah, and the statistics shows it clearly that they are surviving, but the Golden Globe boats, they won't. They are not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. Thank you for your honest opinion. I appreciate that. I think it's very difficult. It's obviously it's a very tricky thing with these being all the accidents that are happening in these old small boats going around. But I do so love the stories that come out of there and the people it attracts, and just how it creates this means and this purpose for these old beautiful boats to be refurbished and sailed in these kind of crazy adventures. But
Yeah,
you won't see me joining that one
yeah,
either. So
yeah. I would be really scared to go with that kind of boat. Because if you go like a averagely four knots of speed, and then you have a big low pressure coming behind you, and it will hit you hard, and there is nothing you can do. You don't even know that it's coming.
yeah, right. Yeah, no, that's
and I think the world has changed a lot since first race on '68. There are a lot of more bigger, stronger, low pressure storms coming all the time, and that makes it also even more risky than it was on '68.
right. Do you think that the weather has actually become worse in the last years?
Yeah, I'm sure it has been since 50 years. It has changed to the worse direction. So those things are more powerful, and they are really hard to avoid and to go through.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's rough. It's scary out there. Do you think you'll ever go around the world again? Does it tempt you at all to do a around the world comeback?
I don't think so. I'm super happy that I was able to finish it on the first hit, because otherwise I think my mind wouldn't let me just let it be if I had to abandon the race. I think I would have to work 4 years more and try it again on 2024, and that was maybe the scariest thing to think about during preparations and qualifications and after the start. That was a very scary thing to think about it. If I have to abandon the race, I can't get over it without trying again.
Right. Yeah, I can see that one.
And now when it's done, I'm relieved.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I got out of the jail card.
Yeah, no, you should enjoy. I agree. Good plan. Just enjoy. Rest on your laurels and enjoy the skiing and the campervan and the flying. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, world is full of so nice, so beautiful things to do. I spent 25 years actually for sailing seriously. I started my first mini campaign on 97 and I was there in 96 to see those mini boats. And accidentally I was there at the same time when they were in Sabladolom where they were preparing the boats, and I went to the Vendee Globe pontoon on that time and first time saw those boats and skippers, and that was a crazy race. In 96 there was lots of lost boats on Southern Ocean and lots of really heroic stories like Pete Goss, who turned around, beat it upwind like 500 miles to save the French guy. I don't remember his name. That was a miraculous thing that the Pete Goss was able to save him. And then there was this British guy whose boat lost its keel, and then he spent, I think, something 5 to 7 days inside the boat before the Australian Coast Guard were able to go there and find him and saved him. And there were lots of horrible stories on that year, and I thought that those skippers are not from this world. They must be some kind of ET, extraterrestrial people. It's not possible for human to make that kind of thing, to race with the Imoca 60 around the world non-stop. And since then it was like itching on my back heads. And since then I visited those pontoons in 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012, 2016, and finally 2020.
Wow.
I was there, and on that time I didn't jump to the car and drive to Paris and fly back home, and I just had to walk into the boat and start my own Vendee Globe. On the other years, I was also always so relieved that I jumped into the car and drove back home and thought, oh God, it would have been terrible thing to jump into the boat and that pontoon go out from the channel and then sail around the world and then come back into the channel and go back to the land on that same pontoon after around the world. So that was a crazy idea.
Yeah, no, it is quite crazy. That is true.
But from 96 to 21, and 2021, it took 25 years. And then I had done it and I ticked the box. And before that, I did 2 mini transats, 2 rams, and 1 Transat Mabre. So I think that was enough.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, I think you've done all there is to do out there. So yeah, I think you can relax and chill, knowing that you've really accomplished a whole lot. So yeah, no, what the hell of a sailing career, Ari. It's been really fun. It was really fun to follow you on the Golden Globe race, and this has been super fun to hear all your stories and to actually get to meet you. So thank you so much for taking the time and for talking to me.
Yeah, no problem. It was my pleasure.
On the Wind is the podcast about sailing, created by 59 North and hosted by Andy Schell and me, August Sandberg. The show is mixed and produced by Andy and myself in Sweden and Norway, respectively. Our intro theme music is composed and performed by former podcast guest, sailor, and musician Cameron Dale, while the outro music you're hearing now is, of course, by our friends the Storm Weather Shanty Choir from Norway. We love hearing from our fans, so send your questions and comments to holdfast@59-north.com, and please do us a favor and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to join us on the Quarterdeck as well to nerd out about seamanship. That's quarterdeck.59-north.com. Until next time, hold fast.
And when me money was all gone on liquor and the horse, I made up me mind that I was inclined to go to sea no more. No more, no more, to go to sea no more. I made up me mind.